Hey everyone, this is Vortex, and in this video I'm going to explore the Great Bay Temple and find out what its purpose is. The Great Bay Temple is the third dungeon in Majora's Mask. It is only accessible by climbing on the back of the giant turtle that appears after Link plays the new wave Bossa Nova to Lulu. After a cutscene, Link can hookshot to one of the trees on the turtle's back and he'll be taken to the temple. When Link arrives in the Great Bay, the water is strangely murky and the Great Bay Temple is surrounded by a threatening storm that prevents entry. The Gerudo pirates who live in the bay believe that the temple is filled with treasure, and they're attempting to break in. So they decide to steal Lulu's eggs, as they were told by the Skull Kid that these eggs were necessary to enter the Great Bay Temple. He wasn't exactly lying, but he wasn't telling the whole story either. The temple can be seen from the coast, and it is shaped like a fish. It's protected by something referred to as a dragon cloud. I'm not sure what that means, but it appears as a violent storm preventing anyone from sailing through it. It's capable of lifting the Gerudo pirate ship out of the water and throwing the boat and its passengers into the air. It's made clear that Link will not be able to enter on his own. The murky water coming from the Great Bay Temple seems to not only affect the local wildlife, it also affects the Zora living within the bay. The Zora can no longer fish for food, which has caused some of them to buy their fish in Clocktown. One of the Zora remarks that you just cannot get used to the taste of river fish, but they have to survive somehow. The fisherman also remarks that the changes in the water temperature are causing the local fish to die off. The water has gradually started to be populated with hostile creatures instead, like the skullfish. This, along with the murky water, is making it impossible for the fisherman or the Zora to navigate the water and make a living. The Great Bay Temple does not look like a typical Zora construct, but it's implied that they have been taking care of it for a very long time. The Zora speak of a descendant of the guardian of the temple in a legend passed down among them. In this legend, it is stated that bad things will befall the descendant if something bad happens to the temple. It's implied that Lulu is that descendant, as she has had a lot of bad things happening to her ever since trouble started at the Great Bay Temple. She lost her voice, her eggs, and the father of her children. The duty of the temple guardian seems to be an almost subconscious process. The key to entering the temple is to play the new wave Bossa Nova in front of the ancient turtle watching over the ocean. The new wave Bossa Nova is taught to you by Lulu's children, mere moments after they were born. These little Zora knew their destiny despite being newborns. Lulu remarks that she had forgotten about the new wave Bossa Nova until you play it for her. She hasn't heard the song since she was a child. She says her mother used to sing it to her. This rules out that Lulu had been using the song as a nursery rhyme. It seems that the new wave Bossa Nova is a song passed down through the family bloodline as a key to entering the Great Bay Temple. Thus, every single one of them is destined to know it. The turtle remarks that, despite his sleep, he still sees everything that occurs in the ocean. He talks to Lulu in a very familiar fashion, like a friend. It's likely that the turtle was also around during the times of Lulu's ancestors. He has been watching over her family for ages, explaining why he talks to her that way. It seems that the Great Bay Temple is directly responsible for the poor condition of the water. Considering that the water clears up after you beat the temple, it makes me believe that the Great Bay Temple is in fact a water purification plant. After all, finishing the temple requires you to reactivate the various mechanisms, essentially restarting the temple. The Great Bay Temple is incredibly modern. The power is generated through the huge structures, essentially making the temple self-sufficient in terms of energy. Most of the machines are offline when you enter the temple, as the valves controlling the generators are switched off. It's likely that this reset was caused by the curse placed on the temple by the Skull Kid. Skull Kid also allowed Georg to make his residence in the temple, preventing the Zora themselves from reversing the process. The only way for Zora Link to kill Georg is to stun the giant fish and then retaliate. The stunning can be done with arrows or the Zora fins, although strangely enough, you can also kill him with pots. The murky water and hostile creatures in the Great Bay are a direct result of the temple's inability to purify the water. Once Link has returned the temple to its original state, the water temperature starts to return to normal as well. One of the Zora remarked that the water will eventually also clear up and the fish would return to the ocean. After you clear the Great Bay Temple, the turtle says that he will have to return to his deep slumber, as the ancient laws must be abided and he is only allowed to watch. This explains why the gods have not intervened, among them the goddess of time, to prevent all of this from happening in the first place. In short, I think the Great Bay Temple is the reason why the water in the ocean stayed pure. If anything happens to the temple, it's going to reflect that in the quality of the water, which should tip the Zora off that something is amiss. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, check out some of my other theories.